Nobody can deny the role of the environment when it comes to our well-being. If human beings are to survive on Earth, there is more that needs to be done than just consuming resources. To counter all of the damage that we've already done, the U.S. Department of Primary Industries and Regional Development has created land management strategy templates. They believe these strategies are essential for carbon farming investments in both soil and vegetation projects. First up, the carbon cycle. Before we get into explaining fancy terms like carbon farming, we should all remind ourselves about the carbon cycle that we once studied in middle school. Now let's take a look at basics. Carbon constantly travels through Earth, and light energy from the sun is what moves it everywhere. What this means is that the sun provides fuel to carbon to transport through the atmosphere, biosphere, lithosphere, and oceans. But why was this revision needed? Well, we humans have spent decades trapping fossil carbon in fossil fuels, all thanks to our unsustainable practices. Every time we burn fossil fuel now, the air fills with massive amounts of carbon dioxide. Even though carbon dioxide is a natural component of the air we breathe, it's certainly not healthy to have it in such huge amounts. Our poor plant life and ocean cannot naturally reabsorb the carbon dioxide, which means it stays in our atmosphere for longer than we would like. Have you noticed how weather changes have become more intense in the past few years? That's all because of the carbon dioxide in the climate. The only way to break this unfortunate cycle of climate change would be to restore balance using carbon farming. What is carbon farming? Anyone who has ever read something about the environment would already know about the greenhouse gas emissions. What you might not know is that the agricultural sector is one that contributes the most to these harmful gases. By using agricultural methods that remove carbon from the soil, carbon farming can help us restore peace on Earth, quite literally. Many carbon farming projects across the world are trying to undo the damage that's already been done. These projects include resources and vouchers that tell farmers what to do in order to sequestrate more carbon in the soil used for farming. Carbon farming strategies also provide solutions to local stakeholders and work on financial tools to make soil carbon sequestration possible. While it might sound like an odd task for farmers, carbon farming is certainly important if we want food to eat in the coming years. How does carbon farming work? In very simple words, carbon farming is any agricultural practice that improves the rate at which carbon dioxide can be removed from the atmosphere. In a utopian world, this carbon dioxide should be converted into organic matter for soil and plant material for farming. You might have heard of new methods such as conservation tilling, compositing, rotating livestock, and planting cover crops. All of these are the perfect example of how carbon farming really works. Carbon farming also works to minimize greenhouse gas emissions from soil, livestock, and vegetation. This is more of a preventative strategy rather than a solution to the problem, but it's still equally important to create a healthy planet. The main reason why governments are investing in carbon farming is that landowners need financial incentives to do something for the environment. To reduce carbon pollution, there needs to be an economic benefit attached to it as well. Next, why land management strategy templates are essential. Remember how we mentioned new resources and vouchers that were released by the Department of Primary Industries and Regional Development, DPIRD? These templates provide direct ways to improve soil carbon levels and generate ACCUs, or Australian Carbon Credit Units. When someone in the US registers a carbon sequestration project, these land management strategies will be there to help out. The government is also encouraging farmers to apply for funding through the WA Carbon Farming and Land Restoration Program. Anyone who wants to develop land management strategies can apply for funding and professional guidance until the 1st of April 2022, an initiative known as the Carbon for Farmers Voucher Program. The land management strategy templates are designed in a way to help an ordinary farmer understand the severity of the current situation. It encourages them to consider new carbon farming opportunities and gives them a quick financial incentive for it too. To create a good carbon farming project and get the required funding for it, landowners can use the template provided. It should include information like soil type, species list, risk assessment, baseline sampling, carbon estimate, and the potential benefits of the project. In a way, the land management strategy template gives farmers an entire outline to develop a fund application for the carbon farming and land restoration program. The Carbon for Farmers voucher is valued at $10,000, a great opportunity for landowners who wish to use sustainable business practices. Now, the benefit benefit of carbon farming projects. Now that you know all the important information about carbon farming, you might be wondering whether it's really worth it. You're not mistaken if you think carbon farming sounds like a lot of effort. It truly is, but nobody can deny the benefits that come from it. As for the landowner, carbon farming projects can help them create new streams of income during tough times. They can even earn Australian carbon credit units, ACCUs, that can easily be sold to get more money in the future. With carbon farming projects, farmers can increase the productivity of their land and produce more vegetation in the future. They can also reduce water bills since sequestered soil uses up much less water than usual. The environmental benefits of carbon farming projects help everyone living on the planet. Each one of us can get cleaner air to breathe, more biodiversity, and prevent natural disasters like drought. As the soil health improves, we can get better quality vegetation and meat to consume in the future. Is it the answer to climate change? Like we told you at the start of the video, climate change is truly ruining our lives, and we mean it. Agriculture practices are responsible for 24% of global carbon emissions, which continue to completely destroy the air we breathe. The only solution to the problem we're facing is better agricultural practices. In that way, carbon farming can be the answer to climate change by removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Instead of our lungs, this carbon dioxide goes to microorganisms and plant matter. If we are able to remove about 200 billion tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, then we can all go back to living a happy and healthy life. No more worrying about climate change or buying dehumidifiers just to get some clean air to breathe. All we need to do is change the way we grow food. But like all good things in the world, even carbon farming projects are easier said than done. How can farmers improve soil health? To put carbon farming strategies in practice, farmers and landowners are the ones that we need to look at. They can improve soil health by using sustainable practices, such as returning biomass to the soil after harvest season instead of just conveniently burning it. Maybe it's time to let go of conventional farming practices and start using mulch farming and conservation tillage instead. During the off-season, when no new plants are grown, farmers can grow cover crops to keep the soil intact. One of the biggest reasons why the soil is no longer healthy is chemical fertilizers. It's now time to replace these with nutrient management and natural fertilizers, as farmers did in medieval times. Is carbon farming truly sustainable? Sometimes things can sound too good to be true. No matter how much we try, nobody knows whether carbon farming is truly sustainable in the long run. Many environmentalists suggest that carbon farming is only a temporary solution. Why would farmers go out of the way and spend money out of their pocket for the environment? There are still so many technical barriers to overcome, but the biggest question that everyone's asking is still whether carbon farming can actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Even if it does, there's no proof telling us that the impact will be significant enough to combat climate change. One interesting perspective on the matter is that carbon farming only benefits the agricultural region. The air might be cleaner, and the climate might get better, but only where the plants are being grown. How do we bring this change to the industrial city where there are far too many factories to even consider growing plants? Many farmers cannot even afford the cost that comes with such practices. Even though the government is trying to provide incentives with new resources and vouchers, there seems to be no long-term assurance that farmers would continue to get paid. Unfortunately enough, there seems to be no way to know if carbon farming is actually beneficial for our environment in the future. However, improving soil health and reducing greenhouse gas emissions does benefit the planet as a whole. This means implementing land management strategies today only means investing in a better planet for our future generations. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think carbon farming projects are good for the environment? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.